Well, in a very few minutes, we should be getting our sunrise. I'm guessing in about, 10 minutes from right now. Be interesting to see what we get. And now, in the comments from last night, one of the viewers was mentioning about, why don't you use a curing agent? Actually, it was Train Man Dave. And I was thinking about curing agent. If you remember when I was blowing on it with the little rubber tube, and I blew it over. Anyway, we won't get into a bunch of details about what happened yesterday. It was kind of long and tedious. And I'm not planning on doing that again today when we do this part here. We got to put another 6 of these on. I'm going to try and do it a little bit differently. But I think I commented back to Dave something to the effect of, the problem is, just putting a small amount on. It's really hard to put just a small amount of this stuff on. And it evaporates so fast if you put it on the end of a toothpick or even a needle. By the time you get the needle down to where you need it, it's evaporated. So this morning on Amazon, I ordered a small package of syringes. Like if you were a diabetic and you give yourself a needle, that kind of syringe. It only a lot smaller than the ones that I got now, and they come with needles. I think they're going to be here Saturday or Sunday. We'll see how that works. I think the most they'll hold is 1 milliliter. The ones I've got right now are 5 milliliter, and it's hard to micro adjust a small amount in. I'm hoping that these new ones are going to be better, and that's the plan. I want to, I agree. If we can use curing agent, it would be a lot easier than having to hold something. And although that's sort of what I'm going to be doing today, I'm going to hold the piece in place with tweezers. Anyway, we'll get into that. Now, about the rollback that we're going to be running pretty quick. It's pretty lengthy. If you don't want to watch it, it's got to do with mainly making up our bib. I'm probably half done the bib, but I want to get back into this. And let's do the rollback and get that over with. And if you don't want to watch it, in the screen, at the bottom of the screen, I'll tell you where to fast forward to get back to right now. Well, last time I checked, episode 980 was uploading really well. And I think that possibly my solution is to maybe do it like this. I think we've talked about this before. Get the upload started early, before the late afternoon when everybody starts uploading and YouTube sort of gets plugged up. At least I'm thinking that's what it must be. As I've said before, no one's going to tell you what's going on. So you got to just sort of guess. Anyway, it's possible that even by right now, it's uploaded. Because last time I checked, it said something like 13 minutes to go. Now, I know I've seen that before, and then all of a sudden it'll go from 13 to 15 to 20, and then 30, and then 40, and then we're into an hour or more, and it just seems to slow right down. Anyway, enough about the upload speed. I was going to do this on the kitchen table. And then I thought, no, the lighting is a lot better here. So I'll do it here. So I shoved everything back, as you can see, and I was going to vacuum this off. But, I was talking about turning this around to get rid of all these places where I've got glue and paint and a little hole. Well, mind you, I'm going to have to put a new hole anyway because I like to put the screw through here in the same place for when I mount my vise onto that block of wood. But it might be a good time right now to take this and turn it around and get the nice side here and the bad side over there where no one sees. And not only that, I can pull it tighter because it's gotten a little bit loose. When I first bought this towel, I thought I'll wash it. So I did. I washed it, and yes, it shrunk a little bit, but now it's kind of, I shouldn't have washed it. I should have just put it on the table just the way it was. I don't know why I washed it. Don't know what I was thinking. Maybe I was thinking I'd get fluffies out of it or something. Anyway, I'm going to take out about half an hour here, and I'm going to turn this around. It's just stapled on, and I think we should be able to pull the staples out. Yeah, that won't be a problem. Okay, we'll see in probably half an hour here, and all being well, this will be turned around, and hopefully I won't have damaged anything over there. Well, we basically got it. 11 minutes after 3. I've been going at it pretty much steady. Went and checked the computer. Episode 980 is uploaded onto YouTube and ready to view. Remember I said I was going to be careful not to shove any tins off the back when I was shoving things? Well, I did. I shoved this one over. I probably lost about 5 minutes over that because I had to go and with these little things here. I only found 4 of them, and I thought there was supposed to be 6. I'll check the manual later. Yeah, that was too bad. Anyway, we got it. We're, you might say, pristine right here for now. No. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. My neighbor comes over. So today's Wednesday. I know you're watching this on Thursday, but yeah. So I gotta, put off my my sewing for a few minutes, I guess, and we'll get at this later on this afternoon or this evening and see if we can get that bib thing made up that I was talking about. But at least we got this turned around. Yeah. Okay, my curiosity got the better of me, and I paged back, and it turns out that there only was 4 of these. And this one here, which also ended up on the floor, is actually this piece right here. And we had decided we were going to leave them till last because they didn't have to go on right away. They were the kind of thing that could be added later. And I was concerned that I might accidentally break them off handling the ship. Anyway, back to step 71. It was kind of funny as I was paging back through. I was kind of pleased with myself, you might say, at all the stuff that we have done. Now I know so far the build has gone really, really slow, to the point that if it went any slower, I think we'd probably be taking stuff off the ship. At least that's what it seems. But we are slowly making progress here. Okay, now. I got this piece of cloth here. It's I believe it's about 60 inches long. It's a cutoff piece. Well, I guess it's not 60 inches anymore because I did something on the end here. So I could take it and I could cut it in half, sew it together, and I'd end up with a piece twice this wide. But I don't think that's enough. So even though this cloth was a real bargain, I don't want to be wasting it just because it was cheap. Yeah, and it was very inexpensive. It was on sale. I guess, I don't know why. Does nobody like green? Anyway, let's just reposition the camera here and I'll show you what I got in mind. Okay, normally when I'm sitting here at the table and I'm nipping little parts off that usually will bounce this way or ping this way, or I drop it, maybe I'm going like this, and I've got my magnification hood on, and I'm working away, and it drops straight down. It usually lands in my lap, usually, but sometimes it'll go, ping one way or the other. So what I was thinking is, if I had it so that it was, you know, well, this cloth is 60 inches wide, so it would be about the same. Well, not quite as big as the green towel, but well, it would be pretty much. Okay, so it would go under the table. Now, our friend Jason in the UK suggested using magnets. I was talking about using Velcro. I don't have magnets. I got lots of Velcro. So I was thinking of having Velcro patches on here and just sort of fasten it up underneath. And then I was thinking, well, I could probably just leave it there and have it so that when you're not using it, it's sort of tucked in. You may have noticed that there's an air hose running across. Right now it's just laying there on my lap. But why not have it so that the cloth goes over top of the air hose, and it'll be out of the way. And then when you need it, which brings up another real flaw with this idea. And I'll tell you what the flaw is at the end of all of this after I get it all made, if I remember. Just and have it so that maybe it hooks around your neck. Now, my arms are going to have to somehow go around this. I think the best way is to just make it up and try it. Now, sometimes when you after you've made something and you find out things wrong with it that you didn't think of before, but I've already thought of the major flaw. Anyway, let's go out to the kitchen and cut a chunk of this off, and I can always go back to the fabric store and get more if I need to. I'm only planning to make one T-shirt anyway. I got it cut out. I just haven't got it sewed together yet. And it's going to be really simple. It's going to look more like a hospital gown, At least it won't open in the back. Okay, I'm just sort of eyeballing this now as to how much I think we need. I want to remember that I'm probably going to run a hem all the way around it, so it's going to be, almost a couple of inches smaller than this by the time I get through, because I don't want it to fray. And yet, on the other hand, what's the difference? I think that about this much. It looks like approximately 24 inches, maybe a little more. Now, mind you, this end here isn't square. Hopefully, by the time I get through here, I'll have squared this this piece of cloth off. But it's not a huge deal here. Okay, now I know a person might tend to think, well, no, why don't we just take and square it up the rest of the way so that it's perfectly square? But you know what? It doesn't really matter. I may as well make use of all of this. Like I say, by the time I get this hemmed over, it's going to be a little bit smaller. I wonder how badly this stuff frays anyway. It doesn't seem to. It doesn't seem to want to come apart. Maybe a little bit this way. Anyway, I may as well run a hem all the way around it. Now remember, this is model ship related. And what I'm going to do is put a, you might call a rolled hem on it, so it's not going to have this frilly thing sticking out all the way around. It's just going to make it so that it's not going to want to unravel. did you want to get in a little closer and see this thing work close up? Okay, so what we're doing here is we're putting this thing on it, on the edge. Sort of like I call it a hem, but it might not be the correct, anybody who sews might call it something different, and you'll be right and I'll be wrong. What happens is there's a knife here. I'm touching it. I'm touching the top of it right now, and it goes down and it sort of chops the fabric off to make it the right width, so that everything lines up with the needles and the loopers and everything like that. And I'll try and start it up really slow here, or make it run slow, and you'll see the knife going up and down, chopping it off. Okay, here we go. You do have to get used to making sure you have this edge that you're feeding into it, not too narrow or not too wide. If it's too wide, you're going to be wasting a lot of material. If it's too narrow, it'll come on the outside of the knife and may not catch the needles in the right position. Anyway, I'm going to just continue to go all the way around this entire piece, and then we'll figure out how we're going to fasten it underneath the table. Another thing, you don't want to be sticking your finger in there. But you know my saying down in the workshop, if you keep your eye on the blade, you're not going to stick your finger in it. Okay, it goes like this all the way around. I haven't had any problems yet. I haven't broken any threads. I haven't had to rethread it except to change the color. Like I wanted green thread with green cloth, but I'm sure you'll believe me when I say it goes all the way around, more or less perfectly. I didn't get it as square as a someone that's skilled with this machine, but anyway, these are the 4 edges that I cut off before it got rolled over. Yeah. Okay, now we got to figure out how are we going to stick our Velcro patches on. And also, I think that they're like hook and loop. Well, I don't know. Should I glue the hook to this, or rather sew the hook onto this, or sew the loop part onto this? We'll just have to test it out, because whatever I sew on here, I don't want it to, when I crumple it all up, that it hooks together. Well, let's get that stuff and see what it looks like. It's getting on here. Well, we got time to do that, and then we're gonna say that's it for today. Okay, this is a sample of the hooks, and this is a sample of the loops. Now, I was afraid that possibly if I made a mistake and sewed the wrong one onto the cloth, that it would have a tendency to want to catch. Now, I think that possibly the hooks will, especially on something like microfiber cloth, which is sort of closed-looped anyway. But let's just see, is this going to easily come off? Well, that's not a problem. Let's try the looped. Well, neither one seems to be. Let's try it on the other side. Oh yeah, that's going to be okay. It's not going to matter which one we sew to our cloth here. It's not going to stick. Oh yeah, a little bit on this side. Yeah, it is. Okay, so yeah, you can see it's sticking there. All right, so we're going to sew our loops to the cloth. Can you remember that? Because I'm going to bed. I'll probably forget by tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, welcome to tomorrow.
Now, it's been my experience if I want to see something like this really good, I look at what I've taken with the macro lens of it. So I'm going to slip the macro lens on here. And I just want to see how bad a job did I do. I know I was putting the CA on pretty heavy. Somebody actually commented to that effect. But let's just see how bad we bathed it. Now, I did go around later and actually reinforce it a little bit. You can see it sort of built up there in the in the trough, or whatever that you could call that, the positioning trough. Anyway, for perspective here, folks, yeah, pretty hard to do something that small delicately. Now, the pieces that we're going to put on here, and there's 6 of them, they get progressively smaller as we go this way, the smallest one being on this end. And I think if we grab onto it right here, very much like we did the other one, it should work out. Okay. And the nose of this thing should clear the part that we're going to put on. All right, let's readjust here, and I'll show you what I got in mind. We're going to do it a little different from yesterday. It may or may not work. Now, I think I talked about this before when we were doing this piece right here. Here we go. This is 13, this one's 14, this one's 15, this one is 16, but the next one is not 17. It's 18. The last one is 17. Now, I'm just sort of wondering, is that because this is done a translation from Chinese or something? I don't know. It just really is funny why they would do that. Yeah, I can see where a person might possibly glue the wrong piece if they weren't watching for something like that. Anyway, let's see what we can do here. You know what? I think I'm going to start with the smallest one, and we'll just work our way from the smallest to the largest. And so we're going to have to find number 17, which is this one right here. Okay, I'm backed off like this at wide angle so that you can see the way I've got it set up and what I'm actually doing. Otherwise, it might not make a whole lot of sense once we get our macro lens on and we're just looking in this little tiny area here. But what I did was I measured our triangle, and 2 of the sides are equal. And all the other little brackets, they're not. There's no 2 sides that are the same. Now, I realize I could still glue this on wrong, but I mean, it would be really obvious that I'm gluing it on wrong. So my plan is to put this in place and get it down in the little groove. And then, after I'm sure that everything is nice and straight, I'll apply the glue, and I don't need to worry about it flopping over. Now, I'm noticing now that my tweezers have slipped down on the triangle, so I'm going to have to readjust here, because if the tweezers are too close to where I'm going to apply the glue, well, you know what's going to happen, right? I'm going to glue the tweezers to the triangle. Anyway, let's get our macro lens on and get zoomed in here. When I went to bed last night, there was still a little bit of carrot left on the pad, and I thought I'm going to wait until it's all gone before I put any more on there. And when I got up this morning, I noticed it was gone, so checking the surveillance camera, I found that the last piece was taken at 1:44 in the morning. Now, I did go out and put out fresh carrots. And by the way, it was -4 outside at that time. I don't know what I was doing out there in just my shirt sleeves. And I'm going to put an idiot string on my glasses. Now, we're talking about the carrots and the rabbits, right? Okay, I did put out fresh carrot, as you can see here. Yeah, and a rabbit did come by a little bit later. Anyway, that's the update on the rabbits. Okay, this is actually my first attempt at this, so I'm looking down, almost straight down on it, so, and slightly in from the other side. Now we want to drop that down in the groove. Why? Oh, I wasn't far enough in, that's the problem. I think that's about it. Should it go maybe just a tiny bit further in? Okay, I think that's pretty close. Now, I have to figure out how am I going to apply my glue delicately. Okay, a few minutes has passed here, so I'm hoping I didn't bump anything out of place. And what I've got is the Bob Smith Industries extra quick setting. And I just hope it's going to wick its way in place. Okay, you may have seen it come through on your side. Now, I think it's probably cured already. Okay, what I'm going to try to do now is I'm going to release the clamp here that's on the tweezer, and it should open up. So here we go. There. I didn't do that quite as delicately as I'd hoped, but yeah, I'm going to go ahead and, whoops, I bumped it. I'm going to go ahead now and do the remaining 5 the same way and just quickly get them done. Okay, this is the last one. I think it's number 14. And what you're seeing here is my pinky, my little finger. Okay, I think that's square. Maybe you could come back just a little bit here. Is it? Yeah, I think it's in the slot. Just hoping that it's wicking its way along there. You might be able to see it coming through from the other side. I'm not sure. I'll know once I get to the monitor. Now, am I maybe too far to your left? I'm wondering about that. I can't quite. Whoops! I bumped it. Well, whatever is because it's. Oh, I'm gonna have to break it loose. Well, that was too bad. You know what? I'm going to have to clean this up now. And, I almost dropped it in the CA. Okay, I'm going to clean this up. And I'm going to call it quits here for today. We will get this. Thanks for watching, everybody. And all being well, we'll see you tomorrow.